Amazing. Welcome back to the show with Anne and Henry. I'm delighted to say we're now joined by Prue Leith. Hi, Prue.
Hello,
Great to see you. So Prue's brought out a new cookbook. Here we are. This is right up my street. Life's too short to stuff a mushroom. And it might surprise people to learn it is full of shortcuts and hacks, because I thought that proper cooks don't ever do lazy garlic and whatnot.
Do you know what? I am not a snob about food. I think that if, you know, bought puff pastry is every bit as good as anything I could make.
No.
Yeah, no, honestly. It's excellent if it's made with butter.
I do buy... That's as sophisticated as I've got, Prue, is to buy the pastry off the shelf. It comes in those layers, your sheets.
Already rolled up.
Already rolled, yeah. And then you put them out and you just maybe use a roller, some flour. That's okay, is it?
Of course it's okay. And it's okay to... I mean, I buy... I confess I'm addicted to it, is that boxed custard.
Oh, yeah.
You know, all ready to pour.
Oh, you don't mix your own custard?
I don't even mix it with...
Bisto?
I don't even use the powdered one. I just buy the box.
Gravy?
And it's... No gravy I make myself.
Ah, there you go. There's always...
But you see, I think it depends on if it's good. If the pre-prepared product is good. If there was a great gravy, I'd buy great gravy.
OK, I'm going to ask you two for your cooking shortcuts. I'm going to tell you mine while you think about it. Mine, Prue, is that I buy grated cheese. Ooh. Is that OK? To avoid having to grate it myself, because I once had an accident.
I think that's fine. My thing is that what is the cheese that's grated? If you
mature cheddar.
Yeah, well, that's fine. If it's mature cheddar, it'll have good flavour.
OK.
There's
Either
nothing
of
wrong
you
with
two got one?
I mean, I think all this is... There's so much chefs and cooks get sort of precious about the whole thing. You know what? If it tastes lovely, eat it.
But but then you can buy it from a shop. That's the thing. Unless you're not, then it's not homemade.
No, but you see, I think you should still cook from scratch. I mean, I like... what this book is not about is just buying ready meals from the supermarket.
Of course.
You know, putting some icing sugar on top or something. I think cooking is a real pleasure, and a lot of the book is actually about how to do quite simple things that cooks who know how to cook know perfectly well how to cook. In fact, some of my friends have said to me, for goodness sake, you've got to know how to chop an onion. Everybody knows how to chop an onion. Well, no, they don't.
I don't. I'm not sure I do, but I have also discovered chopped onions in supermarkets.
Oh, you're joking.
Well, you don't like that?
Yeah. Well, I don't like the idea of it being quite that much ready, no.
Well...
But, I mean, I have a very easy shortcut about cooking.
Yes?
What's that?
I don't cook.
Oh, and...
that is
one is fun.
Shortcut.
Henry, what's your shortcut?
I like to buy packs of tender stem broccoli instead of getting a great big floret and chopping it up neatly myself. I just get the tender stem, it's all there. Just put it straight in.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's healthy as well.
That's fine.
In this, we discovered the classic hack on preparing an avocado, and I want you to take us through this.
Well, it's quite interesting because one of the hacks that is the most popular is that one, because it's how to, you should have given me an avocado.
I know, we should have done.
And that's the trouble, that I finally decided, this is crazy. I'm describing how to do something, and by the time you've read all the description, like how to chop an onion or how to get the stone out of an avocado, you lose the will to live. I mean,
you've got QR codes so people can watch.
So I put in QR codes.
I noticed that.
And I'm very proud of that. I think it's a first, but I'm sure it's not.
I think it is. I've never seen this before.
I'm sure it won't be.
Anne is puzzled. QR code, you point your smartphone at it and it takes you to the website without you doing a thing.
And you see, so if you instead of having to read how to chop an onion, you put your phone there, press the button, you know, take the
Prue, you need to look across your left.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. We might be in a smart... You've got a smartphone, Anne.
Of course I've got a smartphone.
Well, I'm going to teach you before I leave here. But
QR codes are amazing.
And then you go straight to me chopping an onion, and you see it rather than have to read about it.
What is the hack on the avocado?
The hack on the avocado is difficult to describe, but easy to show. You go all the way around the avocado with a knife so that you open it up into two long pieces.
Yes.
Then you take a big, heavy chef's knife and you bang it into the blade into the stone.
Yes.
Give it a twist like that, and you lift it up, and the stone comes out on the teaspoon.
I thought that's how everyone ended up in A&E.
Well, the teaspoon's quite good, but it's not always very neat. If you want to
bang it, okay.
But I think the real thing is you're trying to avoid what what surgeons call avocado hand, and people arrive in AE bleeding all the time because they sort of stab at an avocado with a knife.
Yeah, do it with a
They
piercing
do.
themselves.
They do.
Yeah, and they end up cutting their wrists.
Yeah.
It's not good.
So I want to ask, Prue, you've given an interview recently where you said, I was a bit alarmed reading it, because I'm near the end.
Well, I am.
nonsense. You're not.
You need to be more reckless. And I'm thinking, don't you start saying you're near the end. You're only just beginning.
No. I have become really conscious that I'm running out of time. I'll be 85 in February.
Okay.
So
Same age
it
as
would
my
be
mum.
unreasonable to think that I've got more than, if I'm lucky, 15 years.
Yeah.
I'd be very lucky. So I want to make the best of it, basically.
Right. So you're not thinking about packing it in or.
No, I'm thinking about. In fact, what I've just done is this year I did one less bake-off. I didn't do the celebrity bake-off, and that gave me a month off in the middle of the summer. And we went to Turkmenistan and to Uzbekistan, which I've never been to. And then I'm going to travel a lot because I love traveling. I'm going to take all my grandchildren to skiing over Christmas.
Lovely.
So I'm going to just pack it in because I need to pack it in.
London Fashion Week, we got a photo of you walking the catwalk, I think. That was another. Oh, Prue, how brilliant.
Well.
Isn't that
Fantastic.
ridiculous?
Don't you, I love the swag. Look. Fantastic.
Oh,
The way you
brilliant.
Oh my goodness!
You know, funny enough, we're just trying to get some footage out of dear old John Nott, who died. John Nott was the Defence Secretary. You will have known him, Anne.
He was the one described as a here today, gone tomorrow
Yes,
politician by Robin Day.
Yeah, but he did the same thing as Prue, which is to say, I've been this sort of stiff upper lip guy. I've been a cabinet minister under Thatcher, and I've been a banker. Now I'm going to have some fun. Yep. And it was things like wearing slightly, taller platforms and things like. I think he went to a strip club and things. He did some slightly out there things. Is there anything extraordinary? Yeah, I'm sorry, Anne. He came and did an interview with me. Bless him.
And I do not feel that you now want to go for everything.
I certainly don't want to go to a strip club, that's for certain.
Or do things that you wouldn't normally do. I've been trying to get you into AC/DC for years.
Yeah, well, you're not going to succeed. Because, the whole point is if you're running out of time, you only want to do the things that you want to do. You don't want to do the things that other people think you should experience. I think there is that feeling, actually, of running out of time. I'm 77, so...
A mere baby.
A mere stripling compared to you.
Is there anything you'd want to do, Anne, to just say, look, I did that?
Yeah, I want to go down the Nile. But every time I've tried to go down the Nile, they've started shooting tourists at Luxor, and I've sort of decided it's not such a good idea. Yeah, I'd like to go down the Nile.
All right. Now, we have a little game for Prue, which we're going to call Real or Cake. And you know all about this because this turns up on Bake Off quite a lot, where people have done cakes in the shape of real things. Yeah. So this is Andy's. It's an overnight job. Lovely. This is made to look like a satchel. Really good. I thought.
Isn't it? So good.
All in the icing. So I'm going to show you some images here, right? And you've got to tell me, are they real or cake?
Oh my goodness.
And I can tell you that. How many cakes have we got, producer Arabella? 4 of them are cakes. So the shortcut here is show me the one thing that's real. And I don't know myself.
Wow.
Only one of those is real. The rest are cakes.
I think the phone is real.
What's that?
I think the phone is real.
You think the phone is real?
I agree with him.
Prue Leith agrees.
That's the only real.
Anne Widdecombe, which is real?
Well, I've got to be different, haven't I? I will go for the upper one on the right. I'm
going to go with Anne on the Doritos. I don't know the answer.
Doritos.
Because I just think it'd be really hard to do a packet of Doritos as a cake. I think we have some film so we can see the answers here. Let's have a look. So, OK, orange is a cake. You're right about that. Oh, hang on.
Yes, that's a cake, definitely.
That is a cake. OK, gosh, I was worried for a second. Next one. The Guinness is a cake.
Yeah.
Very good.
A lot of lovely. The Irish colours, yeah.
Irish and Côte d'Ivoire.
Yes, indeed, that is Côte d'Ivoire. So, OK, we're right about that.
Yep.
That is also a cake.
Voila.
This is one of our best quizzes.
Yes.
Next one.
This is the dangerous
Oh,
one.
Yes.
oh. That's a phone.
Yes.
That's a phone. So where are the Doritos? No, it's a cake.
Oh my word!
It's a cake.
Biscuit.
Well, well,
It's a
well.
biscuit.
So what's the Doritos?
Well done.
Let's see. Let's see.
You were
Don't tell
right.
me that's a cake.
No, it's not.
There we are. Well, that was our best quiz. Well done, Arabella.
We had us
producer.
fooled.
That was really good.
fun.
So
You and I were good
Doritos
at
was
it.
the only one that was real. There we
were
go. And Prue's new cookbook is out now. It's called Life's Too Short to Stuff a Mushroom, and you can get all the hacks without any shame. I'm not going to be ashamed now of buying chopped onions. Oh, I want to ask you one more thing. We have a brilliant editor on the show called Ian. He's been married 20 years. His wedding present was that.
Oh, my goodness.
Does that bring it back?
That's what I like to see about... I love to see a cookbook that is being really covered in custard
Yes,
I've got
splodge.
my
And I'll
mother's
show you.
beaten, and it's exactly
Yeah,
like that.
I mean, he was showing it off earlier. He said, every page of this has got sort of pork gravy stains, even some of the desserts. And you can see he's really been through it. Look at that.
No,
Hey,
that's
take a look, take a look. I know will you sign it for him? That's what
Of
he
course
asked.
I'll sign it for him.
Thank you.
But, was my most successful book. It's been, I don't
Wow.
know, it's been in print for absolutely ever.
How amazing.
And it's so huge. I mean, can't imagine why
Amazing.
anybody buys it now, because they do.
Well, they should.
I want to ask you a culinary question.
What's that?
Well, you have notice of it. Why do my omelettes always look like scrambled eggs?
Well, because, they're the same thing, really.
No,
It's
that
just
doesn't answer the question.
Well, I'll tell you what, because you're stirring the scrambled eggs. You're stirring the eggs too much when you're making the omelette. When you're making the omelette, you must just leave it alone for a while and then just gradually bring in the outside so that the liquid goes down and starts to cook as well, and then roll it up. You must not fiddle with it too much.
Okay, that's helped me, because my question was, why do my scrambled eggs always look like omelettes? So I've got an answer as well. Okay, there is a story. I know this is close to your heart. This is The Guardian now, as we go back to the papers. Prue, assisted dying bill to be published next week as MPs fret over scrutiny. And your son, Danny Cohen, is Danny Kruger, I'm so sorry, is a Conservative MP. In fact, he's just become a minister, so well done, Danny. I've interviewed the two of you together, you and Mr. Kruger, because you have different views on this.
We certainly do.
Go on, tell me.
Well, I am very in favour of assisted dying, and he's very opposed. I'm in favour because I just think that if I knew that I had a disease that inevitably going to have a horrible end, I mean, some conditions, you die by choking or suffocating at the end. You know it's going to be painful and horrible. If I knew that, and so I would spend my last few years knowing this is coming, fretting about it, worrying about it. But if I knew that I could step out at any point, that when that inevitability, when that misery started, I could just say, right, I'm not going to have that, I'm going to leave. I think I would live my last few years really going for it and having fun.
No, I mean, I get that completely, Prue. Get it completely. And, if you ask me, do I object in principle to somebody taking that line under those circumstances? In principle, I do not. But in practice, what legislators have got to do is to have sufficiently robust safeguards that people aren't going to do it because they feel they've become a burden. And that you need to protect people with mental problems, and there are all sorts of people that need protecting, and you've got a balancing act here. Now, I think the current situation, whereby the law says you can't do it, but then actually applies a very light touch if there's no doubt at all that this was what the person wanted. I think that is a better situation. But can I just come to, because we're doing the newspapers.
Yeah.
What is very important here is, and I mean, I've been saying this for a little while now, this bill is going to be voted on the 29th of November. And we're still talking about it being published. Now, if you're going to have proper scrutiny, health, you want to consult
we're running out of
health
time.
experts. Yeah, well, I mean, they're not running out of time to have the debate, but they're running out of time for proper scrutiny.
That's interesting. What do you think, Harry?
Well, I think I lean more towards Prue than to Anne at the moment, because I think even though there's a light touch and you can presume that you're probably not going to be prosecuted. You don't know that for a fact. I'm just looking at some of the quotes in this piece, which are quite useful. A unnamed Labour MP says it's essential that the patient is interviewed on their own. We're talking about safeguards here. The patient's interviewed on their own, away from the family, so away from potential pressure. Essential that doctors have the right to decline to sign the paperwork, so that safeguard is there, and that no health care or social work is permitted to mention assisted death as an option. So it must come from you. These are the kind of safeguards that have to be built in.
Let me just ask you. Let me ask you a question here. One of the biggest safeguards, of course, is you must be mentally incompetent to take that decision. You've got two people side by side. This one, they're both dying and they're both in pain. This one is mentally competent and can choose to end his life. This one cannot. How long do you suppose that you will be able to preserve that distinction? And this is what is called the slippery slope.
Look, the Health and Social Care Committee spent months examining this. A bunch of MPs, cross-party, and they concluded that they looked at all the jurisdictions which already have this law legalised, and they found no evidence of coercion. They found no evidence of the slippery slope that you're worried about, and they found no evidence of a diminution in palliative care, because one of the worries has been, if you do this, it'll be such a cheap option that nobody will give any money to palliative care. They had no evidence of any of those three worries.
Well, I can supply the evidence. You know, there is evidence all over the place. And that is the whole point.
That sounds like anecdotes.
And if you, well, no, there is evidence. I mean, for example, Oregon Health Department, Oregon, which is supposed to be a shining example, their health department publishes statistics. And for example, 47% say they're afraid of being a burden. Only 28% mention pain. Now, for heaven's sake, that's the...
OK,
you know,
all right.
So there really is an awful lot of information there.
Story in the Times. Sorry,
We're only asking for a choice.
Yeah, I hear you. And in the Times. Bad time. This is much more trivial. Bad time to be a bachelor as single ladies have all the fun. So I don't know whether that makes it a bad... I don't want to sound too much like a bloke here. That sounds like it could be quite a good time to be a bachelor.
It's a reverse of what used to be the perception, which was that you had carefree single men and, you know, sad old spinsters. And it's a reverse of that perception. I actually think, to introduce a serious note into what is a frivolous question, it's quite a bad time for young men. I really think that, knowing, you know, to know what is going to give offence, you know, when you might be perceived as going too far, what you can say and can't say. I actually think it's a tough time for young men. OK, all right. In the Express, MP Lee Anderson has given an apology. It seems to have done the classic thing of "Do you know who I am?" It's just amazing. So he couldn't get into the House of Commons, and he was stopped by security, which I think they have got every right to do, even if you're an MP. He said, "F off, everyone opens the door to me, you're the only one," when told that his parliamentary pass had to be checked, adding, "F you, I have a train to catch." There was then a complaint, he's apologised, and that's it. We're going to hear from him.
On the 23rd of November 2023, at the Derby Gate entrance, I was involved in an incident with a security guard. During the incident, I spoke to the complainant in a manner that was totally unacceptable, and which included swearing and other language that goes against the House of Commons bullying and harassment policy. I would like to apologise to the complainant and to this House for my behaviour.
He did that without sounding like he didn't mean it.
I know.
Got irritated.
He was just going through it, and because of course he's got a reputation as a hard man who, you know, he's a guy from the streets and all of that. But you're in Parliament, certain standards are expected. I remember the case of Andrew Mitchell, the former chief whip, the former cabinet minister, the whole plebgate.
We never got to the bottom of it. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, but in the end, that was him. He was offended that somebody had asked him for his pass. Same thing.
Yeah.
I actually witnessed a standoff between a Labour MP and a policeman in the House of Commons, and what had happened was I came in just slightly ahead of the Labour MP. The policeman didn't ask to see my pass, said, "Good morning, Miss Widdicombe." And then he stopped the Labour MP and asked to see the pass. Well, of course, the guy said, "You've let her through." You know,
I hate that.
And he really was irritated. And when I tried to intervene, he said, "Oh, go away, Anne." You know, I mean, he was really cross. But I do understand it can be a bit frustrating if you're in a hurry. In this case, Lee Anderson was going for a train, and suddenly somebody asks you for something that they don't normally ask you for. That doesn't excuse it. That doesn't excuse it.
I had to go to a magistrate's court the other day, very minor thing, had to give some evidence in a case. The security at the magistrate's court was the most I have ever seen anywhere, including transatlantic flights. I had to turn out all my pockets, I had to take out off my shoes, I had to take my belt off. Every single item in my bag was poured into a tray, and I just thought, I mustn't lose it here. These guys, I don't know if it's their first day, or maybe there's some sort of secret threat to man. I don't know. But I suppose in life we've got to allow them to do their job, Prue.
Well, sadly, and that's one of the problems with modern life because of terrorism. Sometimes I think we do overreact, but how do we know where to join?
Well, I think the answer is if I'm security at an airport and Prue Leith comes through, I'm waving you through. Don't bother. No, we know Prue's not going to put a bomb on an airliner. Come on, and you just let her through.
No, but if you did that, then the person behind Prue will do what...
Well, you just say you don't present Bake Off.
But the rules are so pettifogging. I mean, I actually put down a parliamentary question on one occasion and asked how many terrorist incidents there'd been involving nail scissors.
Oh, yeah.
And the answer came back, straight-faced, none.
We have a thing...
We want
security guards.
I agree with you. I mean, I go to Chelsea Football Club. They've suddenly started... For some reason, I think your son might be a Chelsea fan, but I don't know. I wonder everything. I don't know. They've suddenly deciding to do aircraft-style searches on the way into the stadium, right? So maybe they've got some threat or whatever. So I'm a football fan, and I'm going to be in a crowd of probably 200 increasingly angry people. The way, if anyone, God forbid, decided to hurt a lot of human beings, what they do is they'd attack that crowd.
Yes, outside.
Because we can't get into the stadium quickly. So you're creating a real risk that somebody goes into the crowd and explodes themselves. But obviously, they must have some reason for doing it.
Yeah,
you know?
and remember, those security guards are usually on the minimum wage, you know?
I'm not blaming them. They do their best,
well, so.
Henry in the Mail, Ryanair. There's a real crackdown on bag size, hold bag size. Sorry, no, carry-on bag size.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. It used to be 55 by 40 by 25.
Well, it still is, but they won't allow any leeway now.
No leeway.
What's
That's one of the reasons why I've never flown Ryanair. I've flown nearly every other airline, not Ryanair, because they're ludicrous.
So before you go on, Catherine Warrilow is the lady here.
Yeah.
And basically what happened with her, she had an expanding zip on her bag. She hadn't activated it, but the fact it could have been bigger meant she was told she had to pay more. Have a listen.
The staff at the check-in desk basically said I could either leave the case behind or pay £75, and that she couldn't let me on with it because she couldn't have the possibility of me having to kneel on it. The irony is, after all of this, with my big yellow "You've been naughty, we fined you" sticker on my suitcase, I take it down to the runway where we're boarding. He just took the label off and took it on board anyway. It totally defeats the object. And yes, it fit in the cabin. It fit in the overhead locker.
Yep, so they're getting tough on it.
But they charge her £100 extra, even though in the end it fit in the sizing rack. Did she get the £100 back? Probably not. I mean, that's the reason why I avoid that airline, because there's always something. It's
going on a lot with the budget airlines where they've decided they've just decided we're gonna take fines off 5 passengers per flight for bags not fitting. I mean, again, this is another one. It's like the same thing, isn't it? Job's worth.
Well, it's just a way of making money, isn't it?
It is, really. Yeah.
I mean, it makes no difference whatever to the safety of that aircraft. If that bag fitted into the overhead locker, it fitted into the checker cage. It's just so that
that's one of the reasons why I go with the old legacy airlines, because at least you know that if it's 55 by 40 by whatever, and it can still weigh up to 10 kilo, 15 kilo, you're fine.
No, but that's the point. It was the right size, but it had a zip that could have allowed it to be bigger. Yeah. Ryanair say the woman was allowed a small personal bag and a 10k bag, but the bag she brought exceeded the dimensions for the 10 kg cabin bag, and therefore she was correctly asked to pay a standard gate baggage fee. Yeah, maybe. Thank you, Prue, for joining us.
Oh, well, thank you.
Here we go. And thank you for signing in advance for signing in, but we'll get you a marker pen in just a moment. There we are. Life is too short to stuff a mushroom or to grate cheese or chop an onion. We'll have more after the break when Storm will be here and we'll reveal which unusual sports...